Hi everyone, in this video I'm going through the State of JS survey which happens in 2022, and we're going to talk about what is actually happening in JavaScript world, and we're going to just look into like the frameworks, the trends, what people and others software engineers, very specifically JavaScript engineers, are using in the JavaScript world. So this is a good exercise to find out if you're going to learn something in future, what framework is trendy or what is market is actually leading to or into. So basically we're going to go through all of them. We're going to just talk about the frameworks, languages, variants, and all sort of things which happens in this survey, and then the decision would be much easier in future. Okay, so if you head into the stateofjs.com and then go to the 2022, which happens not long ago, and you can see, for example, it happens I think at the end of 2022, almost 40,000 people were just participating, and these results are from 40,000 people, or 40,000, almost 40,000 responses. The next one is the Data Explorer. So basically it's checking the audience and is now looking at the yearly salary versus experience. So you can see some people are working for free. Obviously, it's quite interesting if you actually look at the percentage. For example, 8% of people here are working for free, which they have less than 1 year of experience, which is in total 3% of total. And if you then look at the 2 years, then 3 to 5 years, the more you go down here, actually, you can see people are more through the right side, which are the salary is going to be more and more based on their experience, and also the numbers are going down as well. So you can see, for example, from 3 to 5 years of experience, they have 28% of people who participate in this survey, and they're making this much, around of this much money. So the money is not very relevant because it's really it's just considering all countries and every currency, everything together, and then just get the dollar just equivalent, which we know, for example, in many countries the salaries are lower. When you just convert them to dollar, then the numbers are not going to really match. But you can see this, the more you have experience, the bigger salary you're going to get with JavaScript. We're going to just go to demographics as well. So you can see the people who actually participate in this survey. Majority of them are from the United States of America. Then we have Germany, France, United Kingdom, India, Canada, Poland, and everything else. So we have them all here. Now we're going to go to features. So with the features, you can see what are the features within the language that engineers or software JavaScript developers actually like or they're interested into. So some of them are related to language, some are browser API, because JavaScript you can run them in a backend and frontend, and we have others as well. So if you look at them, for example, on the other one, we have progressive web app, that people know what is it about or they have heard about it, and then the ratio is 63%. So almost 30,000 people they know, but 20,000 people have used it before. And then we have WebAssembly, and then if you go, for example, to browser APIs, we have geolocation API. We have quite a lot of these things that are the features that software engineers, very specifically JavaScript engineers, are using them or they're interested and they are actually working with them. So here I'm going to go to language and the vocabulary of JavaScript. When we're talking about based on MDN language, when we're talking about proxies, then you can see, for example, 2019, only 17% of people have used the proxies. But in 2022, that number is 24% or almost 25%. So these are just showing the trends based on the year like 2019, 20, 21, 22. So we're moving on to the promise all settled based on MDN. So there's a link if you want to know what does it mean. But you can see the trend again. People are just more comfortable and confident of using these technologies and these features. Again, we have imports. For example, here is interesting that, for example, in 2022, people are using this one, the dynamic import, less. Basically, it doesn't mean that people are using it this year more than last year or just vice versa. What it means in many cases is that a technology, a framework was using, for example, dynamic import last year. Maybe this year they decide to not use with a new version for whatever reason. Then people are just more into using it, and some people are not using it for different reasons. But here is just good to know all of these things as well. So we have private fields, this one, and then everything else. We're going to go to browser API. With the browser API, again, we have some sort of interesting stuff. I'm going to go to other features. With a progressive web application, you can see, for example, 2021, a lot of people were using it. 2022, the number is a little bit less. And the number of people that they knew about it or they know about it is almost the same thing. It hasn't changed even in the last 4 years. So the numbers are the same, but we can see the number of people were using it or they have actually used it are just dropping a little bit. There could be a lot of reasons on that one. So, and then with the WebAssembly is an interesting one that you can see a lot of people are actually going to use it more and more. Every year, this is going to get more attraction and people are going to use it more. But the very specific one that I wanted to talk about is the libraries. So with libraries, there are changes over time. You can see, for example, if you're talking about Webpack in 2016, there was a lot of positive opinion. So if I stay here on a Webpack, the more you are on the right side, there is positive opinion. On the left side, we have negative. And then on the top, we have they have used it. At the bottom, they have not used it. So 2016, it was like, for example, the best year probably was 2017 and 2020 because there was a lot of positive opinions and it was also have used so much. But in 2022, you can see these people have used it so much. However, the positive opinion is literally going through the left side, which is going through the negative side. So this is how you can translate this one as well. You can check pretty much a lot of them, but this is mainly if you want to look into this. Okay, I'll move on, and if you want to just really look into, for example, a specific one, then you can just have a look, but this is how we're going to use it. For example, if you talk about React is pretty much the same thing from 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20. It is actually going to grow in terms of the usage. However, in 2021 and 2022, you can see it's more into the left side, which means it has a little bit more negative opinions for different reasons, or people start using different libraries or frameworks because React is not going to give them everything they want, or they have just found something simpler or easier. But if you just move down a little bit, we're going to see the libraries. So with the Monorepo, you can see PNPM is the top one, 92% retention ratio, which is basically a percentage of users who would use a library again, means they had a good experience. Then we have NPM Workspace, NX, and then we have Yarn Workspace, and then we have Lerna. So you can see with the Yarn and NPM Workspace, it's very interesting one. So Yarn has 78%, NPM has 82%. These two are always in competition. But again, the numbers are very close. Even for example, with NPM Workspace and PNPM, they're quite close, but you can see which one is the one people are more towards to. And then I'm gonna go to mobile desktop one. So as I'm not really working with the mobile and desktop, I cannot really comment it so much, but you can see Electron, React Native, Cordova, Expo, which I've not worked, and Ionic. So they are still on the game, but you can see, for example, some of them are just have gained more popularity. With the testing one, which is the very important one, at least for all engineers and software developers, we can see we have YTest. So I think YTest and White are coming with Vue.js, and then we have Playwright, testing library, which is very popular, as you can see. Then on the second row we have Jest, Cypress, Storybook. Then we have Puppeteer, and then we have we have Mocha as well next to the Puppeteer on the same column. And then with the 60% one, we have Jasmine and Selenium. So this is what is actually going to give us is basically right tools for the right job. If you're into learning a framework or technology for the first time, then you can see what is the market and what is actually most people are learning. Obviously, there are a lot other factors into this decision, so depends on the right tools for the right job, for the right technology. Some really tools are working very nice together, but again, it will give you indication. For example, if you want to learn testing, maybe you can go with some on a top one because the market is actually going through that side. But this is again not about for example, it doesn't consider the downloads or the stars and how many people or how many projects are using this technology. This is mainly about the surveys from this JavaScript developers. But it could indicate that, for example, a lot of people in their job, they are actually using these technologies. Okay, I'm gonna go to rendering framework. So with the rendering, we can see Next.js, Nuxt, and Gatsby. So Next.js is actually the top one at the moment. A lot of people are using it, then Nuxt, and then Gatsby as well. So with the front-end one, we can see React is not the top one, is the second one. And then we have Vue underneath, and then Pre-React, P-React, and then we have Angular. So with Angular, there is a very big gap, but between like Vue and React and P-React is actually quite the same things. So this is again quite interesting things to see where market is going and also what people are using these days, and the trend is going, for example, through what direction. So here, if you want to see retention versus users, then you can come here and actually check them. So then with the, for example, React, retention was 82%, interest is 10%. But if you look at the interest, for example, the 58% is Vue.js, so people are more interested in that area. However, the retention is less. And then if you look, for example, the 176% or 200% is the Pre-React. So with the Svelte, you can see, for example, it has got 239% of interest. And then with the Alpine.js, you have 240, almost 3%. And then here you've got with the light element or lit element, you have 213. Actually, the interesting one is solid. We have quick. And then we have quite a few more actually. So with the, for example, Next.js, you still have 66% of interest. This list is going to give you interesting data between retention versus usage. So retention is the people that have used it and they like to use it again. And then usage is actually people are using it. Maybe they don't have choice because of their job or whatever reason, but this is also an interesting indicator. Okay, I'm going to just go to the next one, which is the front-end frameworks. This is an interesting ratio over time diagram. So you can see with, let's pick the React, for example. Let's look at the React. This is the blue one. Can we select them? Actually, no. Okay, it's fine. So with the React, you can see in 2016 until 2019, it was the first one. 2020 is the second, and then still is the third one. So we have a green one, which is Solid.js, is coming to the top. And then also we have yellow one, which is Svelte, is also getting more ratio over the time. So there is like, actually we are looking at the retention. Actually, if you're reading it, so retention in this specific case is would use it again divided by would use it again plus would not use it again. So that's the formula. And then, so you can see, for example, Solid is the top one, is actually playing very nice. Alpine is doing very good. Svelte is doing very good. Actually, since 2019 is on the top one. Ember is not doing very much good. P-React is okay. Angular has lost all the interest. And Vue.js is solid, is doing very good. React is doing this one, and again. So if we go to interest now, so with the interest is actually they want to learn it. So people who want to learn it divided by people who want to learn plus not interested. That's the formula they've used. So again, you can see the yellow one is Svelte, is the top one. And now if you look at, for example, React, so let's look at React. React is going down, so it's losing interest. Vue.js, it's okay, but it has lost a bit of interest, specifically in 2020, 21, and 22. Again, it's just coming back. Angular is gone. React is doing okay, and everything else. So it just depends what actually you are interested. You can just look into them as well. And then now let's go to usage. So usage is quite self-explanatory. You can see again, React has the most usage. Then we have Angular, and also we have Vue.js. Everything else, probably they are new. As you can see, they have started, for example, 2019 or 2020, some in 2021. That's why they don't have that much of usage. But again, putting all this data together, you realize that what people want to learn and what they're actually using, and all of these combinations is going to give you some interesting data. And also the last one is the awareness. People have heard about it, and they never heard about it, and everything else. So you can see React, and for example, the Vue is always there on the top. And then we have the green one, which is Amber. The yellow one is Svelte. Again, is playing actually very nice. And this green one, which is Solid, is actually doing good as well. And then if you want to see the ranking one, the ranking is also interesting one as well. So Solid in 2021 and 2022 is the top one. And then if you look at React, actually what is happening with React, React is losing the ranking in terms of, for example, the retention, or again, ranking over the interest, usage, awareness. So let's look at the retention again. So Solid is going to get a very good one. Svelte is the second one. Quick is the third one. And React, Vue.js, Alpine, and everything else. And if you look at the usage, now that's a different conversation. So with the usage, React was the first one, 2016 until today, and Angular is the same game. Amber.js has lost quite a lot. We can see Vue.js is the third one. Svelte is doing very good, actually. And what is the red one is React is doing okay. But Solid is the one which is moving so much. I think this is something that we need to look into in 2023 and onward, to just see where those we're going to get with the Solid.js. And with awareness, again, pretty much the same game. So with Angular, React, they're just playing the top game with Vue.js. But the main thing is the usage and the interest, which you can see what is actually happening. I'm going to go to experience over time. So if you look at the top ones, for example, here is the overview of opinion on the technologies over time. So different colors means different things, but very interesting one, for example, with the Angular, if you look at the red one, so it would not use it. So with the Angular, this red one is growing. So for some reason, people are not very much interested. And same for the React is also they don't want to use it for whatever reason. That's a very interesting one. Here you can see, for example, Solid, again, people are interested. Obviously, a lot of people also never heard about it. With the Lit.js, or what is it, Lit or Light? I don't know. It's the same game. So this is also giving an interesting indication of basically experience over time. How does people think? And this is about the positive and negative split. So actually this is get from they want to learn, or they would want to use it again, versus the negative one, which is not interested or would not use it again experience. So you can see, for example, with the React, again, the majority are in the positive side and they want to use it again and they're interested. The one under Alpine, let me zoom out. There we go. So okay, there is a bit of issue with the responsiveness, but you can see with the Angular, a lot of people are on the negative side. But when it comes to React or Svelte, Vue.js, the majority are on the green side. And then Ember, a lot of people on the red side. Stencil, which I have not actually worked with that one, Again, a lot of people on the red side. Now we're going to just zoom in a little bit, continuing on the rest of the things. So we have other tools and other technologies. You can see again here we have Next.js, Astro, and I'll move to the next section. Well, this is an interesting one actually. Here is just about how happy people are with the state of front-end frameworks. 45% of majority are quite happy, and they have not answered some people, only 3% here, and 1.8% they are not happy. With the rendering framework, you can see Next.js is on the top. However, SvelteKit is again getting on the top just because of, I don't know, people are just more interested into this technology. Then we have, this is basically the retention we are looking at. Then we have, what else do we have? We have Nuxt.js, which is okay. Gatsby is losing a lot of interest for some reason. And I'm gonna go to the interest. With the interest, again, so we have Next.js is actually doing quite good. Nuxt is alright. Gatsby, again, losing some interest. With the usage, again, Next.js is the top one, very much top, and Gatsby is still the second one. So here we're going to look at the awareness. With awareness, pretty much, again, Next.js on the top is the big player. Nuxt is getting into the second one. Gatsby is actually losing the place. And then if you go to the ranking one and look at the retention, Next.js was the first one, now it's in the second one. Astro is going to get the first one. SvelteKit is the second one. If you go to the interest, is almost the same game. Usage, now it's a different one. So a lot of people are using Next.js, some people are using Gatsby, and then we have Nuxt, SvelteKit, Astro, and then if you go to awareness, it's pretty much the same thing. So the top three are in these three frameworks. So again, if you're going to learn something, it's very interesting. You can see a lot of interesting data here in terms of the usage, what people and the market are using, and the interest as well. And the next thing is experience over time. So you can see again the red one here. For example, with the Next.js, the red one is growing a little bit. That's a little bit maybe alarming for the team. And then with the Gatsby is the same thing as well. I'm gonna just move on, and then we can look at what is actually happening with these diagrams as well. You can see Next.js and SvelteKit, Astro, Remix are in a good side, a lot of green part, but then when it comes to Gatsby, then they are losing a lot of interest for some reason. And we have some other tools as well. And then again, the same question, how happy they are with the state of rendering framework. You can see pretty much most people are happy. I'll move to the testing one, which is very important one as well. So with the testing one, I'm very much interested on the Jest. You can see Jest is actually doing very good. Mocha has lost a lot of, well, retention. Storybook is doing very good. Cypress is doing very solid and good. Ytest is gaining a lot of attention here. Jasmine is not doing very much good. Test Cafe, there is a Test Cafe. Okay, Test Cafe is there, and let's let it be there. Testing library is doing actually very good as well. And if you go to interest one, people are interested on Jest, as you can see. Mocha is losing a lot of one. Cypress is okay again. Selenium, I don't know if it exists at all here in this one. Actually, I can see something on the exactly here. And Test Cafe is there again. Puppeteer is losing. Jasmine is losing quite a lot. Testing library is doing good. With the usage is a different scenario. So with the usage, we have Jest, which is the top one. Then we have testing library, which is doing okay. Jasmine is okay as well. This blue one is, I think, WebDrive. Well, no, that's Mocha actually. And then we have the green one, which is Jasmine. The purple one is Storybook. So this is, again, if you want to learn something about testing, this is good to know. With the awareness, what people are aware of a technology and a framework. With the ranking one, that's what is also a very interesting one. So with the ranking, Jest was on top for a while. in terms of retention, but in terms of the interest, still doing very good. Usage as well, so it's in the top one. However, if you look at, for example, Mocha or Cypress, so usage are quite good. Interest, I would say Cypress and Mocha is so Cypress is losing some interest, and then Storybook actually also losing, and Playwright is actually getting a lot of interest, and Vytest as well. Vytest. Selenium is staying there, let it be there. Ava is losing pretty much a lot of interest actually, and Test Cafe is 27%. Okay, so this is very interesting one as well. So if you're actually looking into choosing a testing framework to work on, this is also going to give you indication of what to use. The same story here. So actually the one that you want to look is the green one if it's growing, and the red one also if it's growing. So if the red one is growing, means they don't want to use it or they're not interested. But with the green one, which is positive, again the same story. Here the same thing. So Jest is on the top. Storybook, we have Cypress. Testing libraries are actually very good. Again, when we comes here, I think again there's a zoom issue. So with the Mocha you can see, and Selenium and Jasmine, WebDrive.io, Ava and Test Cafe, a lot of red side as well. And people are happy with this, with the state of testing. We're gonna go to mobile and desktop very quickly. So we have Electron, React Native, and Native App are just playing very nice here. Interest again here, and Tauri is actually on the top one in terms of interest. That's very interesting. Electron is still doing very good, and then React Native is also on a third one, I think third place, yes. In terms of the usage, actually the game is still the same thing. So Electron is the top one, React Native is also very good as well. Now if I go to awareness, again everybody, pretty much most people know about Electron. React Native is the top one in terms of awareness, and everything else as well. I'm gonna go to the ranking one. In terms of retention for the ranking, React Native actually was doing very good for a few years, but now it's losing the retention game, and Native App is doing quite good. Native Script actually is coming back again. I don't know why there is no data from 2019, 20 and 21, and Cordova probably lost the game completely. Here we can see again Native App here. Expo is doing quite good. Tauri is doing very good. Capacitor or capacitor, whatever is that, is losing quite a lot of retention. But if you go to the interest, so interest is a different one. So Electron, a lot of people are interested still in Electron. Tauri is actually doing very good. React Native is actually losing some interest, and then rest of them. We're going to go to usage. Electron is the top one. Actually looking at the Electron is coming up and down, but still very good. React Native is also playing very big role as well in terms of the usage, and Cordova is actually now in the third one. So everything else is also, you can see them here. And for the awareness, a lot of people are aware of React Native, Electron, Native Apps, Ionic, Cordova, and everything else. So with the experience, I'm not going to spend so much time here, but now you can read it and you can see what actually people are much on the positive side and what people are thinking about the negative side. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one, which is build tools. So with the build tools also, it's very important to know what's happening. Let's, for example, if you look at Webpack is actually losing a lot of retention, Parcel as well. And then if you look at, for example, here, Vite, which is for the view, is going to get a lot of, for example, retention, which is good. Turbo Pack is actually, I think, very new. Not a lot of people are using it, but this is a very great tools. ES Build is the same thing, so it's actually on the top one, which is very good. And then in terms of interest, you can see again, Webpack has lost a little bit of interest, but I think if you go to usage, we can see Webpack is the top one on the game. ESBuild is actually doing good. Let's look at the yellow one, which is a TSC CLI, is doing okay. And the pink one, which is I think Gulp, okay, still a lot of people are using it. Browserify, we can see that. Snowpack, SWC. Okay, so it's interesting to see all of them. And then if you go to awareness, I assume Webpack would be the top because everybody knows what's happening with the Webpack, and also Gulp would be the second and third one. What is the pink one? Is white. The purple one is white. Actually, where is that? Actually, purple one, yes. So purple one would be white as well. So if you go to ranking one, you can see White.js in terms of the retention is the first, ESBuild and TSC CLI, TurboPack, and then everything else. In terms of interest, still a lot of people are interested on a White.js, and TurboPack is actually going to get a lot of interest, and ESBuild and everything else. Webpack is, on the other hand, is losing a lot of interest on the game. There could be a lot of reasons behind it. And then in terms of the usage, again, Webpack is doing very good. Gulp, which I'm very surprised, again in the second one. White.js is the third one. TSC CLI is the fourth one, and then everything else as well. So with the awareness, you can see again, Webpack is just the top one. White is actually getting a lot of awareness and people are knowing what is it. Then Gulp is losing a little bit of game. Parcel is doing okay. Rollup is just actually playing very solid in the last 2 years. ESBuild is getting a lot of attention and awareness, and everything else in the list. Here again, we're going to just look at everything. The very interesting one is Gulp, which is actually getting a lot of this red one, or the what would not used part is growing, which is not good, but everything else is okay. Again, you can see what is happening with the build tools. I'm going to go to the next one, which is the Monorepo one. So if you go to the ranking one, actually you can see what is happening. With the ranking one, PNPM is the top one for a long time for the retention. Turbo Repo is doing actually very good as well. NPM workspaces and Yarn workspaces actually are solid as well. And X are doing good. Rush.js is actually getting a little bit of interest, and Lerna is losing interest. And if you go, sorry, not interest, retention. And if you go to the interest, we can see TurboPack is actually on the top, PNPM is doing good, and X is losing some. NPM workspace and Yarn workspaces are solid, and they're exactly in the same place as a few years ago. Rush.js is the same, Lerna and YALC is that one. So you can see, for example, with the Monorepo one, there is not a lot of games and there's not a bit of competition. Obviously the competition is with the top few one, which is PNPM, NPM and Yarn, but you can see TurboPack is also getting to the game in terms of the interest. Usage is a different scenario. So with the usage, you can see a lot of people are using Yarn workspaces and NPM workspaces, but Lerna is using a lot of usage, and then the rest of them has not any changes. In terms of awareness, we can see PNPM is in the top, and NPM, Yarn, Lerna, TurboPack and everything else, which make a lot of sense as well. And then this is also the same thing, but here the interesting one is actually that PNPM has a lot of green one, but Lerna is actually losing a lot of interest, which is not good, because I remember I've used Lerna quite a lot, but it's losing a lot of interest. But anyway, there is a better tools. Why not use the better one if it's the case? Okay, we're going to go to the other tools. So with other tools, we're going to talk about other frameworks and libraries that they were just not on the top one, but people are regularly using them. So Lodash is the top one, RxJS, we have jQuery, we have Zod, we have Emer _, Ramda, stdlib, Partytown, and Mitosis. Okay, interesting one. I have not heard of quite some of them. And then on the date and time management, we have Moment, Date FNS, Day.js, and Luxon. And then data visualization, we have Chart.js, D3, HighChart, and everything else. So this is actually if you're going to work, for example, with some data visualization, or for example date and time management, you can see what are the popular one, or what are the one that people are actually using more often. So it's going to give us, like, you know, some sort of indicator of choosing, for example, a technology that are popular, or at the moment a lot of people in the market are using it. So in terms of data fetching, again, Axios is in the top one, Apollo, and then Stack Query, which is for the React query, and then we have SWR, and then some others. And then with the backend one, it's very interesting one. Again, we can see Express is the top one, then we have Nest, Fastify, Strapi, Koa, and then the rest of them. So again, we can see no one actually is even close to the Express to compete, but you can see them as well if you want. If you don't want to use Express and try something else, here is a list. With the utilities, we have NVM for the node version management, we have Babel, we have N, we have Volta, and some others. And then with the runtimes, obviously Node.js would be the top one, and then we have Deno, Bun, which is actually making a lot of noises and it is quite fast. And then we have Hermes, and then some others. Here with the JavaScript Edge and serverless runtimes, we can see we have AWS Lambda, we have Vercel Edge runtime, we have Google one, Netlify, Cloudflare, and some more. So AWS Lambdas are just the main one. As you can see, a lot of people are using them, but Vercel is actually getting a lot of interest because of the Next.js and the company behind Next.js, so it's getting a lot of interest as well. Okay, and then JavaScript flavors, obviously TypeScript would be the top one. There is zero competition between anyone else in the category, because TypeScript is just well defined and a lot of people are using it. But then if you don't want to use TypeScript, you can use ELM or Elm, and then CoffeeScript or Flow. But then that's the question, do you want to use it when you look at the market and a lot of people are using TypeScript and just a small number are using the other one? Maybe it's better to stick with TypeScript, in my opinion. And then if you want to see the non-JavaScript languages, what other people are still using, which we're going to look into another survey and talk about it in a different video. But here again, you can see, apart from the JavaScript, a lot of people are using Python, PHP, Java, Rust, Go, and quite a few other languages as well. Depends on. So here is the ranking of what JavaScript engineers and JavaScript developers are still using, like for example, different technologies. Here is also very interesting. You want to see the JavaScript usage. You can see only 5% as a student, as a hobby, and then 65% as professional. They're using, for example, JavaScript, and then 22% they have not answered the question. We're going to just move on. What do you use JavaScript for? You can see a lot of people are using it for frontend and backend. Some people are using it for mobile, desktop, data visualization, and everything else. So the majority of the use at the moment still is frontend development, number one, the ranking, and the backend one as well. So I'm going to move to the next one, industry sectors. You can see programming and technical tools. A lot of people are using the JavaScript for e-commerce and retails, finance, educations, marketing. So this is a good indication to just see what people are using JavaScript for. For example, if you are in e-commerce and retail, or if you're in finance, educations, marketing, sales, news, media, and all of these categories, you can see people are still using JavaScript, and JavaScript is actually opening the space for itself. In terms of the application patterns, you can see a lot of people are using single page application, just thanks to the libraries and frameworks like Vue, React, Angular, and others. And then with the server-side rendering, also they're using it as well, static site generation, and then multi-page application, partial hydration, and quite a few more. So here you can see the main one is for the single page applications, and then we have server-side and static site generation as well. I'm going to move to the next one. In terms of how people actually learn something in JavaScript, this is also an interesting one. So you can see a lot of people are self directed learning, so they're going to look into the Google, Stack Overflow and other sources. Online courses, the free one, video and screencast, books, and on the job, so if they have opportunities they're going to learn on a job. Then in the school, online courses, the paid version, mentoring, podcast, and coding boot camps, and everything else. And in terms of the blog, you can see a lot of people actually are looking into the Medium. So if you want to know where to get the latest or the good quality, for example, blogs in the JavaScript world, then this is the place. So if you go to Medium, or if you look into Dev2 and CSS Streak, JavaScript Weekly, Smashing Magazine, Best of JavaScript, Node Weekly, and everything else. So you just can look into the Google and get good blogs and good articles there as well. So if you made it until this part, please, if you have not subscribed already, just press the subscribe button and support the channel. So let's just move on and then continue. So again, the sources and the sites that they're gonna just consult and learn, again, is Stack Overflow, MDN, W3 School, Udemy, WebDev, and quite a few others. And then with the podcast, they're using Syntax Podcast and JS Party and HTTP 203, the changelog, and quite a few. I'm going to move on to the people that people are looking into because they are very active in the industry, or they're very active with this some JavaScript technologies. That's why people are looking into them quite often. So with the A-words, this is the interesting one as well. So the things that stood out this year, we're going to talk about them. So the most adopted feature is actually top level await. So this is an interesting one. Second one is array.prototype.add and string.prototype.replace all. And then we're going to go to most adopted technology. It's Vite.js, then we have Vitest, and then PNPM. The highest retention has Vite again, then we have Vitest and testing library. Highest interest is again Vite, and then TurboPack and Turborepo. Most write-in answers is Astro, and then Fast Node Manager and Azure Functions, and most commented feature, so it would be private fields and proxies. And the most commented library obviously is going to be React, because a lot of people are using React, and then Angular and Storybook. So in the conclusion, you can also see JavaScript and TypeScript are more vibrant than ever. You can just read all of these things, but basically at the end, what we actually learn is this one, that if you want to learn a technology, if you want to just adopt a framework or something, this is a good place to look into and find out what other people are actually using, what is happening in the market, and then maybe you can just use them for your benefit as well. So I think we are at the end of talking about this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to share with you what is happening in the JavaScript world. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you in the next video.